What's up, guys? It is Thursday, May 26th. For everyone who has been waiting on me to stream in the last couple of days, where I have been sort of missing, I've been falling behind on my schedule. I want to just start by saying sorry. I've been basically a little sick, and my physical condition has not been the best since being sick. So I'm trying to get back on track as soon as possible because I have a lot to get done in this week. Okay, so that's my current situation. I'm trying to catch up. Just as a quick update, I want to finish off the SAT practice tests, okay, with the ones that I haven't done yet. I want to finish them off, and then I want to move over to doing the May US QAS. Okay, I want to do that as soon as possible. I want to do it this week, ideally. Now, I did say I'm going to do it by next week, and I may still have to extend it till next week. But ideally, I want to finish it by this week because I have so much to do before the summer. So I just need to kind of pump it out. So me getting sick and me not being able to stream actually has been a huge setback for me. I'm kind of stressed out, honestly. So I'm going to get right into today's stream. And I'm hoping that as long as my body can handle it, I'm going to do 2 streams back to back. The SAT practice test number 5 and then the SAT practice test number 4. I'm not going to hold my breath on this, though. We'll see what actually happens. I am equipped with water and coffee. And I don't like having 2 cups of coffee in one day, but I may just need it. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. So we're going to get into SAT practice test number 5. Here we go. K-Evil. I wish you would get a notification when I say, yo, sorry for not keeping. I wish you would get a notification. I know you don't actually get a notification, but I'm going to leave this for posterity. Anyway, going into the SAT practice test number 5, I have never seen these passages before. It'll be my first time ever solving them. And my strategy will be, I read the passage first. I read it once, and I try to have a good map of the passage where I kind of know where the main transitions are and what happened, okay? And using that map of the passage, I will read the question stems one by one. Question number 1, I read the question stem. And before I jump straight to A, B, C, and D, I'm going to sort of predict what I know the right answer should be just based off of my map, my memory of the passage. Now, sometimes before I even look at A, B, C, D, I will go and double check using my map. I will double check the part of the passage that I am pretty sure the answer is supposed to come out on. So I will know from my map of the passage, like if it's asking about some sort of character named Johnny or whatever, and I know that Johnny comes out in the bottom left, I will switch over to the bottom left of the passage. I will check the information I need about Johnny, and then I'll come back to the question stem. And all of this I do before I even look at A and B and C and D. Okay, this is pretty different from the way that you guys are oftentimes taught to do this. A lot of you guys are taught to look at the question stems first and then the passage and then go straight into A, B, C, D, which I think is a horrible way of taking the test. Okay, now you can test this yourself by doing it on your own. See what it feels like when you do it the same way that I do it, and if it's working for you, leave me some comments in the sections below. I will tell you, up until now, I've been streaming for the last couple months, and I've already heard, and even though I only have like 250 subscribers at the moment, cross my fingers, maybe 2,500 in a month. Probably not 2,500, but even though I only have 250 subscribers at this moment, I've already gotten multiple dozens of students who are telling me that when they change their approach, when they basically copy what I do, they see a noticeable score jump on their reading and writing sections, their verbal sections. So you should try it too, and basically try it by copy a working solution, okay? Copy it first and then make it yours. Okay, that's my little strategy recap. Getting myself some caffeine, trying to make myself feel good, get my dopamine and serotonin going. Let me just do one last thing to keep things going. I'll say this. Whew. I like the SAT. I like reading these passages. They're interesting things to read. I learn new things. I gain a glimpse into new pieces of history that I'd never known. And I sometimes even have a moment where I'm moved by the literature. I like the SAT passages. I'm going to remind myself of that. And I'm confident in all of my test-taking habits because of all the practice I've done up until this point. So going into this, I'm going to feel good, and I'm going to try to keep myself feeling good this whole time. All right, here we go. Let's pull up the passage. Okay, I have my iPad in front of me. So, and here's my pencil. Let me make sure it's working. Is my pencil working? Okay, it is. Oh, excuse me. It is working. I'm about to get right into it. My stopwatch, I forgot to set up my stopwatch. I'm about to do it. Okay, guided access is started so that the screen doesn't turn off while I'm doing this. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. The Folded Leaf. Maxwell. 1945. Okay, right after World War II. Alcazar restaurant. Modern art decoration. And the ferns, that's kind of funny. Limey, okay, is a character. We have a character name. Ordered his dinner. The history book, he's reading a history book for some reason. Had been used, so he's not rich. Blank pages, front and back, were filled in with maps. Right, this is the organs. That's probably dick pics. Not dick pics, but dick drawings. Right, these are notes in the margin. And there was even the evidence of tears. Interesting. This is an interesting setting. We're actually inside a page right now. The Peace of Paris. Between France and the Allied powers. I don't know about this history. Managed to bring food up. So he's very absorbed, I think. No idea he was eating, right? He's very absorbed in the book. The Congress of Vienna. Same year, 1814. And all the powers engaged in the war on the other side sent plenipotentiaries, powerful people. It was by far the most splendid. Russia, Prussia, Bavaria, Denmark, Württemberg, Austrian capital, in Vienna. When he put down, okay, we're back to Limey. The waitress, Irma, thought he was through eating and tried to take his plate away. He stopped her, right? Because he's not done eating. He's automatically reading Metternich. Okay, we're back to Prince Metternich. These are the two of France. Okay, a party of wow. Another transition. We're going in and out of the textbook right now. A party of 4, 2 men, 2 women. The table nearest Limey. Shingled hair. I don't know what that means. Short, tight skirts. Okay. Underside of their knees. Okay. Sexy underside of the knee. One of the women had the face of a young boy, but disguised. To look, which as a matter of fact she was. She's not pretending. She's actually The men were older. They laughed. Too loud, exactly. They're distracting her. It's the woman's voices which caused him to skim over two without knowing. Yeah, he's having trouble focusing. He realizes, this is hilarious. It's so meta, man. It's so meta because it's literally the same thing that you guys will go through. Otherwise, he might never have known about the secret treaty between England, France, and Austria. His father came. Interesting. So his father is here now. I see. Unsustained by respectability. His father's not... Okay, anyway, his father used to be more athletic and now he's very old. Gray hair, scalp showed through, lost weight, color was poor, an American Legion was gone. He himself was not aware. The diamond, he's married, and he's showing that he's married. Both of these things. Manicurist. Who is this young man? The young man had never deserted Mr. Peters. He was always there. I see. Not becoming a man at 45. Whoa, that's a hard passage. Holy crap. Now this young man is talking about Mr. Peters himself, the father. Stop. Whoa. Okay, I'm stopping the time, and this is my map of the passage. Now, obviously, you do not do this on the real test. Okay, I'm doing this for the stream to show to you, okay, because you can't actually read. This is not the same as a video game where you can actually see everything I'm doing. I mean, even in video games, it's really helpful. When you're watching someone else stream a video game, it's really helpful to know what they're thinking. I'm just about to do the same thing right now. I'm going to share with you. I'm stopping the game right now. I'm pausing the game, and I'm telling you everything that's in my mind, okay? And what this is the map of the passage. You're going to know what's in my mind. And then you're going to see how I can actually predict the answers to the next 10 questions, okay? Here we go. Map of the passage. So we have, what's this? Not Mr. Peters. We have the narrator who doesn't have a name, I think. He has a used textbook. First paragraph, he's sitting at this diner. He orders some food, and he has a used textbook. And in this used textbook, there's all these marginalia. There's all these notes in the margins, okay? And body organs, which is almost certainly like sexual pictures, right? That kids will draw in the margins. It's kind of like a euphemism for that. Now, I guarantee you the SAT will not ask you about that, but I just know. If it was like SAT literature, they still wouldn't ask you about it, but you should, like, if you're at the level of getting like a SAT literature 800, you should basically infer that. So he, and I think in that very first paragraph, we have that detail where he's not noticing what he even eats. Now, that might happen in the third paragraph, or it might be in the first paragraph. I don't remember, okay? But that's the first paragraph. And it describes the Congress, not the Congress of Vienna, but the Treaty of Paris or something like that, okay? There's two historical events, and I think it describes the first one only. Then the second paragraph comes where we have Irma. Irma is the waitress. She joins in. And And the second paragraph is kind of weird because it starts at the bottom of the left page, left column, and then top of the right column. And I think it's transitioning from the Treaty of Paris to like the Congress of Vienna or something. But then Irma comes along, and then there's this whole thing about like her taking away the food, but he's also counting up all the different countries that are supposed to be there. Okay. That are supposed to be represented at the Congress of Vienna in Austria. And then Irma drops in, and then he's like, no, I'm still eating. And then he goes back right in, and then there's this bit where there's like a prince and somebody else, a king and a prince or something, and these two people are supposed to represent France, and he's just counting them with his right thumb, his right index finger. Okay, that's the bottom of the second paragraph, which is in the middle of the right column now. Then, in the bottom of that column, the third paragraph begins where it talks about how some group of four, a party of four, 2 men, 2 women join. 2 men, 2 women join. And they are, basically they're noisy. So this bleeds over into a third column on the second page. And it says that they are noisy enough, and especially the woman. There's like this one woman who is 35, but actually her face looked like a kind of boyish young boy's face, but she has all the trappings of a 35-year-old woman because she is 35, and the 2 men are older, okay? And then they're laughing, and he's distracted, and almost like 2 full pages go. Actually, this is still in the bottom of the second column. And he's like losing track of 2 whole pages almost. And then thankfully he realizes that he is losing track. So he goes back and rereads it. This is the bottom of the second column. Third column talks, does it talk a little bit more about the history? Maybe it does. I don't remember anymore. But then the readers, not the readers, these people, what the heck happens in the third column? I mean, the father comes out at some point, but yeah, I don't remember really at the top of the third column. I don't remember. Okay, the top of the third column, I don't remember. But basically, at some point, he's all distracted, but he's trying to read. He's trying to get focused on this, and then he is getting absorbed. And at some point, he notices that his dad's jacket has been hung. And he's like, "Oh, Dad, I didn't know you were gonna come." But they don't have a conversation. That's the crazy thing, okay? What happens here then is instead of having a conversation, what happens is we just start describing the father. He used to be a sporting man, but this look has been unsustained by respectabilities. So maybe sporting men and non-sporting men, they all age the same way, but for him, it seems like it particularly hit him hard. He looks a lot older. It's basically a short version of that. So he does things that are unbecoming of an older man because the younger man lives inside him, continues to live inside him. The sort of vestige of, because he acts like the younger man who was once on a horseback with a woman and something like that. He had this history of sort of sexual prowess. Okay, sexual prowess. By the way, it's hard for you guys as high school students to just immediately read into that, but I mean that's basically true, right? If you are a young man, you were a stud when you were younger, right? And you sort of get aged out. Okay, you're gonna have the habits. This one character, at least, has the habits of back when he was younger, and it's not looking good on his dad. And that's just the end of the story, which is crazy. But what this does then is it sets up a pretty intense contrast between the kind of person that the dad is, who is very surprising. It's a very surprising kind of dad, given how bookish the son is. The son is very bookish. He doesn't pay attention to his surroundings. Oh, excuse me. Oh, dude, like Oh, I just coughed up a ghost. Dude, I just. Oh. Dude, whoa. Okay. That just sent me back in time. Oh my God, I'm like dizzy. Okay, let me try that again. I'm like disoriented. So I was talking about how there's a contrast that's set up between the father and the son. Whew. Name of the game. In this particular passage, characterization, kind of realizing that this person is very bookish, and then realizing that the father is a sort of faded star, former athlete. Okay, characterization. There's no conflict on this one, no clear conflict other than through the contrast of the characters and the sort of minor nuisance of the people laughing too loudly. Okay, so that's the characterization. And the other thing to be aware of is setting, the shift between the present and then the history, and then the present and then the history, right? Going back and forth. So as long as you can hold on to those two things, I think this passage will not be extremely difficult, but it is a little more experimental. It's a little more unconventional than there are much easier stories out there. Okay. All right, here we go. We're about to get right into, so that was my map of the passage. Oh, I was going to grade myself. My grade for the map of the passage, I would say that was I missed the top right, which is the only annoying thing. So I'm going to give myself an, but I don't think it's that important because I think I actually sort of remember the top right. I just don't know what's exactly in that location. But I think I remember the content. I think I've even said the content of it out loud. So I'm gonna give myself an A- for that map of the passage. Okay, just from gut feeling. I'm not going and double checking on the page. I'm just gut feeling. I think an A-, maybe it's a B+. Okay, so I'm gonna feel pretty confident just predicting the answers without looking back at the passage. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, 540 is also kind of long, by the way, for reading. The focus shifts from obviously inner thoughts to observation made by, no, inner thoughts to a description of people outside, no. Yeah, there we go. But this is awkward because it excludes the father. It excludes the father. The physical setting of the scene, traits. I don't know why these questions feel so weird where I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust the literature question writers that much. The main purpose of the passage is first paragraph is to, hang on. From memory, I would say characterize how absorbed he is in the book. Okay, let me just double check though. The margins, yeah. No, it's not about how absorbed he is yet. It's just what he's doing. Nightly habits, the date, setting, place and an object. That's pretty much correct. The place is the place is the restaurant. Okay, 7:05. Forgot to switch to blue. Irma thinks he's through eating because he dropped his fork. Okay, no look answer. That's 15 seconds. Here we go. Primary impression of the party of 4 is that they're noisy. Yep, that's no look answer. 7:25, 5 seconds. The best evidence for this was I'm looking at the words here on the right side, but basically I'm looking for the thing about them being noisy, which is at the bottom right. Their laughter was too loud. That's 55. Whatever includes 55. I'm going to just double check 55 to 59. Skim over to, yep. Distracting. That part's distracting. So 7:55. See how fast I am because I can predict all the answers? Indicates that Limey finally closes because his father has joined him. Yep. That's basically correct. No look answer. How many no look answers did I just do? And then Mr. Peters is that he used to be healthy, but now he looks, yes. 8:20. Oh my God, so many no-look answers. So many no-look answers. The main idea of the last paragraph is that Mr. Peters is stuck in his past. I mean, it's kind of that's a little too harshly. Yeah, he behaves as if he is a younger version of himself. Yeah, not preoccupied with knowledge. Although, that's also a no-look answer. I think I've done almost like 8 no-look answers so far. He wants to attract attention. It's because he behaves in that one way because of the other guy. Let me just double check. He strained his self-consciously. Notice the diamond ring. So that's from 81 through 85. I mean, up to 87 is still pretty good. Okay, but 81 to 85, that's exactly correct. That's what I predicted. That's correct. And here we go. 93 becoming most nearly means. Okay, I have to look back for this one. Not appropriate, not age appropriate, not fitting. Good. 940. All right, moving on. I think I did about 7 no-look answers on that one. Okay, you guys should be aiming for something similar. Catherine Beecher, cool, 87. Grimka, response to Beecher, 83. Okay, they're both responding to each other. And Grimka encouraged Southern women to oppose slavery. Okay, so Grimka is the second person, so that's kind of okay. I remember for AP Lang I read some similar passage. Let's look. Heaven is appointed to one sex the superior and to the other the subordinate. Whoa, okay. So Beecher is the conservative position. One sex superior, other subordinate. It's for the dignity and interest of females to conform to the duties, to women's duties. Her duties are not less important, okay? But the way of gaining influence and power, okay, should be different and peculiar. We have different roles. This is a complementarian argument. A man may act in society in debate. Okay, so Grimka is going to be the one who's like, no, we should also be public. He may urge his measures by a sense of shame, by fear, by personal interest. He may coerce, drive by physical force. This is talking about the mode of gaining. So this is the man's way of mode. A woman's mode is different. A woman's mode is appealing to the kind of, okay, right. So men are sort of the aggressive, debatey type, and women are supposed to earn things by peace and love, through respect, esteem, and love. Within the domestic and social circles. So not in the public sphere, okay? They both have spheres. The sphere of domesticity, right? That's something you learn about in U.S. history. Cultivated, refined in the sphere of the domestic. And this is what's going to happen when you do that. Then, as a result, everyone will find an influence thrown around them, and they will yield. Okay. A woman is supposed to win through the heart, not through battle. They may seek the aid of cooperation among her own sex. Appropriate offices, piety, charity, maternal, domestic duty, but whatever in any measure throws. Combatant, coercion, conflict. This will lead to throwing her out of her appropriate sphere. Okay, so this is just a summary. Then we should not array females in an abolition movement. We should not array females in an abolition movement. That's 1330. Here we go. The investigation of the rights of the slave has led me to a better understanding of my own. Ooh, interesting. The investigation of the rights of the slave have led to a better understanding of rights of the woman. Interesting. Interesting. Historically interesting. The high school of morals. The high school of morals in our land. Not high school, but high school. The school in which human rights are more fully investigated, better understood, and taught. Okay, our rights are more... Okay. So this is her background. Now we're moving into her argument. Everyone has rights because they are moral beings. Because they have a moral nature. Because they all have the same moral nature. So they have the same rights. You can take them away, but they cannot be alienated. His title to himself is as perfect as now, as is that of Lyman Beecher. Lyman Beecher must be the father of Catherine Beecher. Interesting. Slaves have a title to their own selves. Okay, title. This is the same as the rights. Just like now, if rights are founded in our moral being, then the circumstance, okay. If it's in the nature, then it has to do, the sex is a circumstance, whereas morality is a nature. So this is the second part of the argument. See, our physical bodies are just an instrument of our nature, our abstract nature of morality. And if we disagree with this, then we would take our body, our animal nature, and make it above our moral nature. Okay. So that's the second part of the argument. The body is subordinate to the nature, the moral nature. Okay. Sex becomes insignificant and nothing. In terms of rights and responsibilities. So what's the doctrine? My doctrine then is whatever it is right, whatever is a man can do or ought to do, a woman ought to do. So this is an argument about women are debating in the public sphere. That's the context that you really need to stay aware of. And this is actually a rebuttal. This is a whole separate thing. Oh, interesting. That could be a whole essay or paragraph of its own. Stop. I'm at 17 minutes. Jordan, what's up? Jordan 13, what's up? So I'm at 17 minutes. I'm going to show you what's in my head, okay? Everything that I remember, okay? And again, this map of the passage is going to enable me to predict the answers to the questions without even looking at the passage in some of the times, okay? And that's going to save me a lot of time, even though it took me how long to read that? It took me 7 minutes to read that. It took me a long time to read that, okay? But let's see how fast I finish the passage in, because my map of the passage should be pretty solid. Here we go with Catherine Beecher, passage 1. First column, top. So Catherine Beecher says, men, there is a subordinate sex and a superior sex. That's the first argument. Subordinate sex, superior sex. That's not to say that the subordinate sex is any less important, that the duties of the subordinate sex are any less important or any less prevalent. Okay? It's very important, but the method by which we exercise our power, okay, should be different. Okay, that's what Catherine Beecher is saying. That's the first paragraph. That's top left. Now moving to the middle left. Still kind of top left. She first starts with a paragraph about the methods by which men ought to exercise their influence because of their sphere. They should battle. They should debate. They should be in conflict. They should be in the public. They should do this and that. Through conflict, they should enact better laws and stuff like that. She doesn't say laws specifically, but that's their sphere. Okay. And then number two, so now we're in the third paragraph. Now we're really in the middle of the left column. Okay. This is me just talking from memory on my first time reading this. She talks about women's methods for exerting influence, and that's about peace, respect, love. And her sphere is in the domestic and the social. It's not through direct combat. Okay, it's through soft influence. Now, this is a very pervasive idea. It's a very common idea. Okay, this sphere or cult of domesticity. Okay, this idea that has existed since before even the Victorian times, right? But especially entrenched in the Victorian times, it's still entrenched now. Okay, and I believe there are some people out there who still believe, who believe to this day similar thoughts about the roles of men and women. Okay, I'm not going to even say that they're outdated. It's just a way of thinking about the world. Okay, so that's the third paragraph. And moving on, Catherine Beecher sort of wraps up in the bottom left and going to the top right. If a woman were to battle, she would be doing herself. If a woman were to ask for aid from her fellow woman, to exert her influence in these peaceful respect, like in this peace way, this respect way, this sort of soft influence way, totally fine. But if she were to battle just like men in the public sphere, then she would be sort of warding against her own nature. Okay, that is passage 1. Now we're at the top of the second column. We're moving into passage 2, and here it's Grimke begins by saying, I'm trying to remember, begins by saying that her background. Okay, starts with background. Her background is, I learned a lot about the rights of women by studying the rights of slaves. I learned a lot. It's basically the whole first paragraph. Okay, now we move to the middle of the right column where she starts her second paragraph, and she says, all men have rights, human rights. And the reason they do is because of their moral nature. This is why a slave has the same rights as the father of Catherine Beecher, the person that I'm about to take down. Because the white father, Lyman Beecher, who is a minister, and the slave, who is he was downtrodden in society, both of them have the same moral nature. Okay, that's the first part of the argument. In the same paragraph, there's no paragraph break, but in the same paragraph, she transitions to the second part of the argument. She says, hang on, I'm trying to remember. If this is true, because if our rights stem from our moral nature, then women have the same rights because their physical constitution, their body, is just an accident. It's a physical accident, really. It's not our nature, because women have the same moral nature. And then there's an elaboration on this argument where it says, if you think that for some reason our physical constitution, whether I'm a woman or man, if you think that matters, then you would actually be taking our body and you would be making it superior to our moral nature. which is ridiculous to Grimke. Of course, our body is not above our moral nature because our body is our animal nature. Okay, so that's the bottom of the second paragraph, which is a long paragraph, and it comes now to the bottom of the right column. Now, the third paragraph says, for this reason, basically, woman ought to, anything that is morally correct for a man to do, it is also morally correct for a woman to do. So woman, basically she doesn't, I don't think she says this directly, but she's saying woman ought to be able, just like men should organize to create an abolition movement, women should also organize to create an abolition movement. They should also be part of the leadership. They should also be part of the fight against slavery. They deserve a spot as well in the public sphere. Okay? So these are two extremely early feminists. They're both not even talking about their own like rights, political rights or anything like that. They're just talking about their right to even debate about slavery. Okay, that's all they're talking about. And oh, by the way, I actually forgot one last thing. At the very bottom of the second column, okay, the last sentence, which could really be a whole like couple paragraphs by itself, is a whole thing about, and by the way, our duties, the duties that, Beecher talks about, our duties are merely, our duties, the reason they are different is not because of our moral nature. The reason our duties are different is because of like the variables in our circumstances or something like that. I forget what exactly she says, but that's a rebuttal. That's a rebuttal. Okay, so notice how I remembered the entire passage by sort of labeling the transitions and kind of getting through it. I would give my map of the passage. I took 7 minutes to read this, so it better be damn good. I would grade my map of the passage at A+, really. I basically remembered almost everything in the two passages. And I feel very confident right now going into the 10 or 11 questions and just predicting the answers now. Jordan, I see your questions. You need help. So I will not give you direct help right now. I'm going to be focusing on questions related to the passages, but I do talk about my strategy and I do talk about how to take the test at the very beginning of this video. So if you can rewind and check that out if that's more helpful for you. All right, I'm about to start my time. Here we go. I'm at 17 minutes. Let's see how much time it takes to get through these questions. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Blue, blue, blue. Makes which point about the status of women? Beecher thinks they're subordinate. Yep, that's correct. No look answer, 1715. It's definitely an inferior, but significant. That's the bottom of the first paragraph, so it's going to be here. So that's 6 or 10. 6 or 10. Okay, 1735. So I took 35 seconds for those two questions. One of them was a no-look answer. Beecher implies that their effect is largely through soft means, indirect, within home and family life. That's basically correct. I just want to double check. Double check all the other ones. Yeah. Okay, 18. No look answer, 2 no look answers. Here we go. Line 2, station probably means position or role. Probably means, from just my memory, subordinate position to the other, the subordinate position to subordinate rank. Rank is the closest one. 15 seconds. Okay. I got 2 no-look answers out of 4 questions. Peculiar most nearly means particular. From my memory, it's particular. Different and peculiar. Okay, unique to woman. Okay, distinctive. So that's 1835. Here we go. Yes, this really is my first time seeing this passage ever in my life. What is Grimke's central claim in passage 2? Passage 2. Central claim. Woman. Whatever is right for men to do, a woman should. Woman moral rights are the most important. This is only an assumption. Okay, it's not. Okay, wait, hang on. Animals. Sorry. Must learn. No. The rights of individuals are not determined by race or gender. That's an assumption. Flourish. Oh my God, that's not a good answer choice. I had to go through process of elimination because this is not actually the correct. That's not the correct answer. I would say A is the least incorrect answer, but A is only an assumption for the central claim. Okay, I'm gonna double check. That's not a good question. Grimka makes which point about human rights? Human rights. They stem from a moral nature. Whether they are recognized, I don't think that comes out. No, odd events. They are viewed differently, maybe. Okay, this one I actually do need to double check. I'm seeing that this is from the whether they are recognized by law. I don't remember a comment about the law, but let me see. But they cannot be alienated, imperishable. That kind of alienable kind of refers to the law. Maybe rested, but they cannot be alienated. So I'm going to look at 61 to 64 and see if it's there. That's an awkward question. Okay, that's super awkward. So I'm going to skip and move on. Okay, it's because that's kind of not the way I would have phrased it. I don't think that's a perfect answer. Okay, but that's good enough for now. I'm going to move on. Best states the relationship between the two passages. Passage 2 disagrees with the central claim in passage 1. Yeah. Okay, 21:10. Here we go. No look answer. That's my third no look answer, I think, or maybe fourth. Both answers, authors would agree with which of the following claims. They both have duties. Yeah. I mean, I kind of saw that immediately, so I just know that's true. 21:30. Here we go. Reacted to 65 to 68. By the way, I'm just double checking the other answer choices, B, C, D, but yeah, I did. Just add 10 more seconds there because I double checked. Okay, would likely have reacted to 65, 68 with 65, 68. I think that's the part. Hang on. Oh, come on. Zoom in. Now, if rights are, then it's not. Okay. Absolute disagreement, right? The men has a higher station in life. That it's not a mere circumstance, it's essential to our nature. Disagreement. Let me just difficult, nope. Okay. I feel like these questions were not the best questions. I feel like they were written in a pretty inexact way. So I'm gonna keep going. But anyway, I only took 5 minutes to answer these questions, so I'm very good on time right now. This passage is adapted from Walsh, Whole Food Blues, why organic agriculture is not so sustainable. Okay, cool. That's interesting. Let's go. Organic agriculture might be bad, or at least not sustainable. Everyone loves efficiency with energy. We want to cut energy waste. Both sides agree on this. Energy efficiency, so important. Good for the economy and mostly good for the environment. I like that quotation. Everyone would agree. So the first paragraph is just background about what everyone agrees on, but food and efficiency doesn't look so good. I see. We don't agree on energy efficiency. So basically, organic food is not energy efficient. Conventional agriculture is efficient thanks to fertilizer, mechanized irrigation, right? Conventional food, less land. Okay, less land. More food on less land, that would be good. But that's not how we talk about our arugula. Okay? We want organic food, for some reason. There's like a contradiction. There's like an internal contradiction in our environmentalist logic. They disdain energy inefficiency by conventional farming, compared to organic practices are considered more sustainable, yet they yield fewer crops. It's kind of strange. Okay, kind of strange organization, but yeah. Sales rose. This is like an interesting little detail here. Fewer crops. More land is needed. So they disdain the energy needed for conventional farming, but actually they need more land. So are we talking about land and energy as the same thing, or is that different? It's not, maybe not be as good as we think. 2455. Is there another paragraph? Yes, there are. There's two more holy crap. Okay, yeah. Scientists from McGill performed an analysis of so it's a literary it's a literature review or meta-analysis, I mean. 34 species. Organic had lower yield for every crop type, though this disparity also varied. Okay, so this is important background. For rainwater legume crops, okay, interesting. Rainwater legume crops, RWL, organic trailed by just 5%. That's pretty good, relatively good. For major cereal crops, MCC, more than 25%. Okay. Here's the difference. It's nitrogen. Conventional agriculture uses synthetic fertilizer, and that nitrogen enables faster plant growth. I don't fully understand this bit here. What's the green revolution? But not all nitrogen used in conventional fertilizer ends up in crops. Much of it ends up running off. Okay, runoff nitrogen, polluted dead zones. We're already putting more nitrogen into the soil than the planet can stand. What? This is like the opposite argument now, suddenly. Holy crap. It just came out of nowhere. Okay, so conventional is more efficient, but there are trade-offs. But this is such a poor... this editing was a little weird. It's a little choppy. Okay, so an ideal global agriculture system may borrow the best. As Jonathan Foley. Today's organic farming should be deployed in fruit and vegetable farms, where nutrition, not just calories, is the primary goal, but for sheer calories, our staple crops. Okay. For sheer calories. $27.50. Stop. Okay. Stopping time right now, and moving on to my map of the past. Oh, sorry. I'm going to continue time. I didn't see the graphs, the infographics. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield. So yeah, 100% is where you want to be. And fruits are good. Vegetables are weirdly not good. And cereals are also not good. Okay. Here we go. Organic yield as a percentage of by species. This is crop type, and this is by species. Interesting. So specific species. The worst right now is wheat, okay, which is again one of those mass things, and barley. They're bad because I assume they need a lot of nitrogen or something like that. 28.40. Stop. Wow. That was honestly, it was a pretty strangely organized passage. So I don't know how good my map is going to be, but here we go. Map of the passage. Strangely edited. But here we go. Very weird. Okay. First column, okay? First column is right side of the first page. Everyone loves energy efficiency. Everyone thinks being more energy efficient is a very good thing. All environmentalists agree. That's the first paragraph. Second paragraph. However, change the conversation to food, and now suddenly environmentalists do not agree. They love organic farming. They disdain conventional farming. Okay, I think that's the second paragraph. Something like that. Third paragraph, I think, then it moves on to saying something like, sorry, let me just get some drink. My lips are chappy. So, third paragraph, it talks about the energy efficiency of organic. No. They disdain the environmental. Okay, you know what? I don't remember if it's the second paragraph or third paragraph, but basically in the middle of the right column. Okay, the first column. It talks about how the environmentalists love organic food, not conventional food, and then it talks about how they disdain the energy waste of conventional food. Okay, specifically the energy waste of conventional. This was like kind of confusing part. Okay, this was not a very well edited article, honestly. And sales of organic food have increased. There's like the little bit of parenthetical, okay? But it turns out, according to this study, that organic food is 25% less energy efficient and use more land. No, I don't think the word land came out in the first column. Okay. Whew. That's a mouthful, honestly. And I'm not even fully 100% sure that I caught all the weird transitions in the first column. Moving on to second column, which is on the second page, left side. And weirdly, the bottom half of this page is like empty. So just keep that in mind. So the top of the left column talks about a study from the University of Minnesota or something like that. Just researchers, there's no name, where they did a meta-analysis of 66 studies and like 39 different crops or something like that, okay? It's a description of the data, where they got the data from. And what happens is they found that organic crops underperformed. You know what? The first column did talk about land, and I remember that land use is a big part of energy efficiency. But I specifically remember on the first column, like being a little confused about whether energy efficiency and land efficiency are the same thing, because they kind of imply it, but they talk about it two separate things. They never show a direct relationship between the two. It was very confusing. Okay, but let's just leave it there. Now back to the second column, which is on the second page, first column, right? First column on the second page, or second column of the whole passage. But left side, it's talking about this study, and they find that depending on the crop, some of them are less inefficient. Which ones? The ones that are based on something legumes, okay? These guys are actually only 5% less efficient than conventional farming, okay? But for the ones that are our staple crops, the major crops, they are actually 25% less efficient. That comes down to the middle of the left side, but at the final paragraph of the left side, which is still in the middle for some weird reason, it doesn't go down to the bottom, it says, yeah, also all of this nitrogen, by the way, that is useful for these crops. Oh, and it says the reason is nitrogen. Because the nitrogen accelerates plant growth. I forgot about that part. Then there's this next paragraph, whereas it says, on the other hand, all this nitrogen, it turns into runoff and then causes environmental harm. So suddenly the author is on the flip side for some reason. The transition was very jarring, honestly. I was not ready for that. And so on the top right, it talks about the ideal approach is to kind of mix both according to the situation. And this one professor, Foley guy, says, you should have a hybrid approach where for certain situations, like fruits especially, we should use organic farming, but for staple crops, we should just continue to use conventional farming. There's this big quotation. I don't remember the details of the quotation anymore. Wow, that was rough. That was a hard passage, honestly, for me to sort out. I'm kind of curious, who of you guys had a better map of the passage than me? I'm going to grade myself. My map of the passage, I'm going to give it a B, a straight solid B. Okay, I still remember a lot of the hard twists, and I remembered a lot of the what do you call it, the transitions and stuff, but it was just hard, and some parts of it are a little fuzzy, and I don't really remember some of the material, but I got the gist of everything, so I think that's pretty good for a B. All right. And there are these two graphs, which the first graph is a plot chart of efficiency where 100% is equal to conventional farming by crop type, and the second one is by specific species. So yeah. Yep. And by the way, in the crop type, like the wheat was the worst, and like the conventional, basically wheat is the worst. Just remember that. Organic wheat farming is the worst in terms of efficiency. Presumably energy efficiency, which is also connected to land efficiency, which is not clear how they're connected to me. All right, that was my map of the passage. It was a mouthful. It was like, it was kind of garbled as it was coming out, but I got through it. I would give myself a B, maybe even a B plus, honestly. It was still pretty good. So I still feel pretty confident that I'll be able to predict the answers to the questions without having to go straight into the hell of process elimination. Here we go. I'm at 28, 40, 3, 2, 1, let's go. I'm losing time right now just for clumsiness reasons. All right, simple. Line 14, simple, most nearly me. Line 14, simple. Simple land to food basis. Okay, on a straightforward. Oh, perfect. Okay, 29. I was predicting it. I got it exactly. According to the passage, a significant attribute of conventional agriculture is its ability to use nitrogen to maximize plant growth, maximize the land efficiency. That's correct. What variety is not the focus. Okay. Yep. 29, 30. This is implied kind of, but yeah, it's not directly addressed. I mean, I guess I could circle it because I feel some awkwardness there. Which choice best reflects the perspective of an environmentalist on conventional agriculture? That was a no-look answer, by the way. It is energy inefficient. It depletes resources. No. Inferior. I think this is probably correct, but I'm not 100% sure. So now this is not a no-look answer. I have to double check. It's down here. Healthier, tastier, and better for the planet. Healthier, tastier, better for the planet. Okay. That is exactly correct. Healthier. That's what? 20. What line was that? Healthier, that's 28 to 31. 28 to 31, which was one of the answer choices. Correct? So 30, 35. Okay. So I haven't been able to get a lot of no-look answers yet. Which statement best expresses a relationship between organic and conventional farming? Organic is less efficient, but conventional causes runoff. No? Interesting. I'm just looking at it. So I'm looking at C and D. I feel like C is the closest one, but maybe B. Maybe. Okay. Nitrogen. Let's look at the nitrogen part, which happens over here. So the main difference is, conventional uses a synthetic fertilizer, and that nitrogen creates a lot of faster growth, okay? But a lot of it is going all over. They also depend on chemical pesticides, which we talked about earlier. Okay, so that means B is wrong. Ooh, that is tough. Hang on. So conventional, so that's probably like what, 61, 65? That's like the, over here. Yeah. That's an inference. You have to infer that. I don't think there's a direct line reference specifically saying that organic doesn't, but you can do it by inference. That's actually a really great inference question if it is what I'm thinking. Ideal global agriculture system would use both. Consider multiple factors. Select them. Yeah. Yep. That's correct. No look answer. 32, 35. Sheer sheer just means a huge amount, right? Sheer calories, just for delivering a large amount of calories, a pure amount of pure calories. Pure is very weird, honestly. I don't like it, but steep calories, abrupt calories, transparent, delivering pure calories. It's a little too colloquial, but it's the only one that works within that context, so I'm going to move on. Okay. Which statement is best supported by the information? Figure 1, figure 1. Figure 1, figure 1. Hang on. Staple crops, it's that the staple crops are pretty terrible. No. Organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield is greater? No, come on. Greater for vegetables? I think vegetables were worse. No, I think that was worse. The reported number of observations exceeds 82. I'm going to look at 82 first. No, okay, not all. Okay, so we have fruits on top, vegetables on bottom, oilseed second place, cereals third place. So fruits, oilseeds, cereals, vegetables. Fruits, oilseeds, cereals, vegetables. Wait, this is one of those dumb. Hang on. Yeah, this is opposite. It's similar for cereals and all crops. I think that might be similar. That's kind of a weirdly phrased, yeah. That's actually awkwardly phrased, but yes, that's correct. I don't like the phrasing of that question. Like it's not clear what the word similar is referring to grammatically. They could have written that better. Okay, I'm gonna pause and I'll tell you exactly what I mean, because that is just that's poor wording. The organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield is similar between cereals and all crops, or the organic yield of cereals as a percentage of conventional yield is similar to that for all crops. Would have been grammatically a lot clearer. Very strange, okay? But sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to just do the process elimination and then just work through it one by one by one by one. You know, it's not the best situation to be in, but I do want to emphasize this, okay? You can literally do my way of taking the test and basically refuse the process elimination and you'll still get 750. You can. Okay, if you read it, if you know how to read well, you even get 770. You will. If you don't, if you just refuse to do process elimination, I'm like, F process elimination. I'm going to only do it Saul's way 100%, right? You can still get a really good score. That said, the test questions are not always perfect and your understanding is not always perfect. So it's good to strategically use process elimination at the times when you need it as a backup plan. Okay, so I just did that, and that's how I got B, because by doing process elimination, I could look at the answer choices slowly and be like, B seems like it's like the wrong idea, you know, because but like it felt like it was the wrong idea, but then now that I look at it grammatically very slowly, then I can figure out it was the right idea, okay? So I still use process elimination, I just try to make it my last resort. I don't try to go straight into, oh, what is A? Oh, what's B? Oh, what's C? Oh, what's D? Oh, what's the one that's the correct answer? Like, oh my God, that's way too distracting. So distracting to do it that way. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Following claims, by the way, Jordan, thank you. I saw that comment. Thank you. Supported by figure 2, what's it? Let me just remember figure 2. We had wheat on bottom, barley third place, tomato, and then soybean. No. 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 I think soybean was the top, right? Let me just double check. Oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. Yeah, soybean was top. Tomato was it? Yeah. Yeah, they have lower yields. All of them have lower yields. None of them are above 100%. Okay. That was kind of those two infographic questions were kind of a waste of time questions. They were forcing you to do process elimination. Maybe the second one was a little less so, but anyway. Why you shouldn't trust internet. Oh, hang on, stop. Okay, so this is my pacing check. We've just done 3 passages. At 3 passages, how many minutes should you have spent? There's no one right answer, but here's my guideline for you guys. At 3 passages, you want to be ideally at 35 minutes. So you'll notice I am at 45 seconds over 35 minutes. The reason you want to be at 35 minutes after 3 passages is, okay, normally you want the first 3 passages to be less stressful for you. Now, for some of you guys, if you prefer the science passages, you can kind of change the order of it, right? You can do passages 2, 4, and 5 or whatever, right? But regardless, you want to finish at 35 minutes so that the 2 most stressful ones get 15-minute each. 15 would be 30, right? That would be 65 minutes on top of 35 minutes. 35 plus 15 would be 65 minutes, right? So you want to give yourself a little bit of free time for the final 2 passages, the ones that you find harder, okay? Usually, for me, the 4th and 5th passages are just generally a little harder. So make sure, try to aim at getting 35 minutes for the first 3 passages. That's like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 13 minutes, but it can kind of switch around. I think I did 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 13 minutes. Actually, that's literally what I did. Let me just double check. So I did 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and almost 13 minutes. And then 12 minutes. Okay, I did 10, 13, 12 basically, except a little bit of extra time on both sides, so that it actually was more. But anyway, yeah, so... and 10, 13, 13. I did 10, 13, 13 basically, right? And that's pretty good. I'm at 36 minutes instead of 35 minutes. I feel pretty comfortable. That means I have, if I need, I have 15 minutes for each for the remaining 2 passages, okay? That's a good, comfortable position you want to be in. But the only way to get more comfortable with your timing is by actually measuring how long it takes you to read and to solve. And ideally, you're doing it every single question, because then it helps you to learn what the right feeling is, right? I was like, oh, that took me only 10 seconds. That's a good feeling, right? That's how 10 seconds feels like, right? You get an internal clock that knows what 10 seconds should feel like. And 10 seconds, by the way, is pretty rare. You normally don't answer questions in 10 seconds. I do, obviously, because I have a pretty good map of the passage. I can just predict the answer, and I choose it right away, right? So I can do a lot of no-look answers on some of these passages. So again, you want to have a good internal clock, even if it's not 10 seconds, right? For 30 seconds, for 1 minute, you should know what that feels like, okay? And so the way you do it is by tracking all of your time. You got 1500, 700 English? Yeah, it's good. I mean, what 700 English means is that you're in the top 92 percentile, right? So what that means is that, but people keep asking me these questions, but guys, I know you want some external person to be like, good job, and I will say it, good job, Luca. But you have to be more specific with yourself, right? 700 is good in a sort of national generic sense, but is it good for you? I can't answer that for you. Only you can. And do you know how you answer that? You have to decide, what school do you want to get into? And what score do you need to feel confident applying to that school, right? If you are going to apply to Yale and you are specifically trying to be a drama major in Yale, no, 700 is not good, right? It's just not, like, why would you be a drama major in Yale with a 700, right? Like, that makes no sense. Like, you should be someone who, you should be bleeding literature and reading, right? That's like your identity, right? So if you are like, and on top of that, you know, if you are from a WASP background, you grew up your whole life in New England, and all of you went to a private school where all of your teachers have like PhDs in English literature, and you have a 700, and you're trying to apply to Harvard. Is that good? Probably not. Honestly, you know, if you're trying to get to Harvard from one of those prestigious private schools and you have a 700 in English, no, it's not. It's not that good. It's not good. At least it's not something I would, if I were you, I would not feel confident applying to Harvard with that score. So you need to decide what score would make you feel confident applying to a school that you want to get into from your context, you know, and you need to do some research on that. Like, what's the research? Like, what kinds of kids get into the school? So let's say I'll just make up some random school. I'll call it the University of Saul Lee, USL. Okay. For your school, how many students got into USL last year or in the last 10 years, and what were their SAT scores, and what were they going, like, what majors were they aiming at, you know? And besides USL, similar schools that are at the same tier of USL, what was the data for your school? Okay, every school is different. So what was the data for your school? Learn that. Also, just think about your background. You know, if you're like a Korean or Chinese or Indian student, right? There's so many, like, I mean, affirmative action is a real, like, just be aware, right? You're going to be disadvantaged. You're going to need better scores. You will. You're going to need better scores. So, because you're competing against other, like, because I think for valid reasons, I think there's actually a good argument for this, but for valid reasons, you know, some of these schools do not necessarily want like 50% of the population to be Korean, Chinese, Singaporean, and Indian. Like, you know, like that's like having a student body of 50% of students being like that. You know, there are some private schools that do not want that, and some public schools that do not want that, right? So be aware, like, what is the standard for you? You got business and 800 in math, and depending on the school that you want to get into, that might be good enough. That might be, depending on. Are you trying to get to Harvard though? 700, but are you international students? You know, like there are these other factors. I can't answer that for you right away. But if you don't know, you can go into you can kind of describe yourself. Croatian, international, business, Wharton, UPenn, ChanceMe. Use these words. Luca, I'm just guessing you're Croatian. Just made it up. But just make these numbers, okay? Just Google these things. ChanceMe is a thing, okay? ChanceMe is a thing that already exists, so you can use that. But I also strongly recommend talking to your college counselor at your school. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break. I talked about pacing. I talked about 35 minutes. I did some Q&A. I need to take a bathroom break, and I'm going to finish off this 4th and 5th passages. Okay? Be right back. Okay, I'm gonna keep taking a break. If anybody wants to ask me any other questions, I'll start the test in like 3 minutes. Georgian. What time is there? It's probably like pretty close to midnight, no? Let me see. Time in Georgia. Yeah, pretty close to midnight. Okay. Oh man, I am. My energy level was absolute garbage. I was feeling like absolute garbage all day today, but I guess I am kind of on now, so I'm feeling much better. So I think my original plan, I don't know who was here when I started this stream, but I was hoping to do 2 practice tests back to back. So practice test number 5 and then practice test number 4. And I think I'll be able to do that. I probably shouldn't drink too much coffee though, because that'll mess me up. Jordan, thank you for being specific about where you wanna get in. Bocconi. I don't know the admissions data here. Reading and writing score, average score for. So remember that. So you should always be looking at the 25, 75 percentile range that all schools always give. And generally speaking, the less known that your school is, if your school does not tend to send a lot of students over to the United States, then just to be on the safe side, right? If you're college, like for example, some schools have college counselors, sorry, not consultants, college counselors who like let you know, hey, you're trying to get into Bocconi. Well, we had, last student out into Bocconi had these kind of statistics and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like you're on track. Don't worry so much about your SAT score. If you have good recommendations from your history teacher, your English teacher, whatever, you don't have to worry. Just keep focusing on your school academic performance. You'll do fine, right? They can't promise you're going to get into Bocconi or not, right? But you're like some college counselors, some schools have a history of sending students over to American schools, and these college counselors have experience with like which students get into which schools, and they kind of know, right? Not all schools are that well resourced. In fact, the vast majority of schools are not. But if you're lucky and you go to one of these schools, you can have a college counselor at your school who will tell you what's kind of realistic, right? But if your school is not like that, and most kids are not, their schools are not that well resourced, or they have staff turnover, or they haven't been established that long, or even they've been around. Not a lot of students apply to American schools or whatever. When your school is not like that, then you want to just sort of play on the safe side. So aim at the 75th percentile. Don't aim at the median. Don't aim at the middle. Aim at 75th percentile. That'll make you feel more comfortable going in, right? But if you are from a less common country like Greece, or Georgia, actually both of you guys, I don't know what to say personally, because I'm more used to helping students who are from Korea, and the Korean kids have to kind of overperform everything because there's so many Korean kids like applying. My suspicion is less intense, because for example, if I were like USL, okay, University of Salt Lake, if I were doing USL, like I would get like 100 kids applying. Let's assume that my school is like pretty dope. Right? Everyone wants to come to my school. Like I'd probably get like 100 kids applying to try to get 100 Korean kids trying to apply for like 5 spots, and I would give them 5 or 10 spots, whatever, because I want there to be more diversity in my group, because I believe that when Korean kid comes and a Greek kid comes and a Georgian kid comes and they meet together and they become friends, that's a more unique experience than 3 Korean kids coming and becoming friends, right? That's like less unique because you don't learn about like democracy in other parts of the world, politics from other parts of the world, right? You don't learn about the science, like the kinds of scientific interests that kids from Greece might have compared to the ones that are from Korea. Like you don't get as much like intellectual exchange when everyone's from the same part of the world, right? So if your school or your country even doesn't send a lot of students to the US schools, then you maybe don't have to take then maybe it's safer to just be at the median, at the median score. But I just don't feel comfortable telling you what to do because your area is not my specialty. It's just not what I know. So I would recommend that you do your own due diligence and use the chance me's. Look up Reddit, look up College Confidential, use the word chance me, and compare yourself to some of the other students that are out there. Now, be aware, College Confidential tends to be a lot of like super neurotic kids who are like, and some of them are passive aggressive and, I'm beautiful. I mean, kids are beautiful and they're diversity and all that stuff. I love you all. But some of you guys are gross and icky. Some of you guys are, I'm sure even some of you guys watching these are gross and icky people. And just be aware that some of these kids get a little sensitive. It's the internet. There's all sorts of kids. So just be aware that, you shouldn't get overly nervous by what some of these like intense kids are saying. Okay. So just take things with a grain of salt, but use it as a source of information. All right. I think I'm ready to get into the fourth passage. Here we go. Through the fourth and fifth passage, I will not be doing Q&A. I will just be doing I will do questions I'll do like quick. If I see your chat, I'll quickly reply. If it's not a general question, right? If it's something about the passage or if it's something about what I'm thinking, okay? For the fourth and fifth passage, let me just finish off the reading. Here we go. I'm at 36 minutes, okay? Oh, I took 15 seconds to stop the time? Holy crap. Anyway, so I wasted 15 seconds. But here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. The wisdom of crowds. Don't trust internet comments. So wisdom of crowds has become mantra, but it's not so good. Doesn't always reveal the best choice. That scores online and reviews and scores online don't reveal the best choice. That we can be manipulated. Sometimes, okay, this is a qualification or a concession, the crowd is wiser. For example, the weight of a bull or gumballs in a jar, okay? But what happens when you're trying to do something less tangible, okay? Tangibility, like the quality or worth of something, when it's sort of subjective. The wisdom of the crowd, according to one theory, it still holds. But skeptics argue that they are easily swayed. We can nudge a crowd by presenting contrary opinions. We can bias them. I feel like the word nudging will actually come up in a vocab and context. To steer the crowd in a different direction. To test which hypothesis is true, you need to manipulate huge numbers of people. Okay, this is getting into experiment design, and they did exactly that. Sinan Aral from MIT did that. Aral exposed them to false information to steer them to think things, and we saw how well it worked. The website allows users to make comments, okay? There's comments, and to vote up or down, okay? The votes are visible as a number, okay? Just like we know from Facebook. And the position is chronological, okay? The comments are chronological. The stories on the site get an average about 10 comments, and that's popping, dude. That's more than me. Yo, my YouTube. It's support my YouTube. It's a follow-up to his experiment using people's ratings of movies. Okay, this is a follow-up. So he had a previous experiment before. How much the crowd influences the individual. And this previous one was about people influencing each other and whether it can be controlled from outside. This seems very similar. But I don't see what the difference is, but sure, whatever. For 5 months, every comment randomly, okay, this is the treatment, received a vote or as a control, no vote. Okay. Okay, this is just the quantity of data. Man, they're using like an amazing site for this. News sites, they're herd-like. That's interesting. Did they do non-news sites? I forget where this data came from. Where did this data come from? A popular website for news story. I see. It's like BuzzFeed or something. Okay, I see. So this is only, so this at least is for this study. They're herd-like. Okay. Fake positive votes were more likely to be more positive. So it creates like a virtuous cycle. No more likely than the control to be downvoted. Okay. Positively manipulated comments got a boost of, that's a huge boost. However, did not hold you for negative. A fake downvote were usually negated by an upvote. Interesting. But positive piles onto more positive, but negative doesn't. They're more skeptical of negative. That's one possible explanation. Okay, interesting. This is overall talking. Now we have Duncan Watts. Agrees that, he agrees. But is it specific to this news site? Okay, the news item had a strong, right. I would have thought that business is similar to economics, that they found a much stronger effect for the former than for the latter. Oh, the category. Oh, I totally missed it. Category of business has much stronger effect. Okay, we'll need to know. This is a area of investigation that we still have not uncovered. How about companies by boosting their product? That's a different field. Yeah, then the herd may spook and leave, right? You may lose the trust if they learn that they're being manipulated. 40, 45, stop. And I'm going to give you my map of the passage. I actually am not super confident. Oh, no, sorry. I'm going to keep continuing. I didn't see the graph. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Artificially upvoted comments versus control comments. In business, it has a mean score. What's this mean score? What the hell? Mean score of the comments. I see. The mean score is the highest for the artificially upvoted, and this is the control. So look at this gap, right? That's a huge gap. Huge gap. Business, culture, society, and politics versus economics and general news. And fun. Strange. It's hard for me to notice a trend here, other than business, culture, and society are more sensitive. Stop. All right, 4130. Now I'm going to go right into my map of the passage. Okay, this is for you to know what's in my head. And let's go. I'm actually not sure I'm going to remember this, is because it was kind of, I was a little frazzled. I was a little erratic when I was reading this. So I didn't really signpost my map very well while I was going. So we'll see how much I do remember. First paragraph, the wisdom of the crowd. No, not wisdom of the crowd. Wisdom of the crowd. No, wisdom of the crowd. First paragraph, wisdom of the crowd. Apparently, people believe that crowds are wise. That's the first paragraph. And it's not true. And second paragraph is also a very short paragraph. It says that the wisdom of the crowd holds true for things like counting gumballs or average weight of a bowl or things that are tangible. And it might be the third paragraph, or it might be the same second paragraph, but what about for non-tangible things, for more subjective things like value judgments on like how good something is, right? Something like that. So this is like, now we're getting to the top. We're from the top of that column to kind of going towards the middle of that column, where it says that people are, that they're, first there's like a sentence saying that even some people theorize that even for subjective judgments, the wisdom of the crowd holds. However, skeptics argue that actually people can be manipulated, they can be herded, they can be nudged, they can be steered. Those are some of those words that come out there, okay? in the middle of the paragraph now, where we talk about the skeptic's position. And how can we test this? We can test this by manipulating a huge amount of data, which is exactly what Aral from MIT did. This is the middle of the paragraph, or of the past column, I mean. Middle of the column. Exactly what he did. And then the bottom of that column, it starts talking about the popular news site. There's a popular news site. He went in, and in this news site, there's something called comments, and then there's something called voting. And you can vote on the comments. You can vote positive or negative. Positive comments are, the count of positive comments does show up, which can get, I guess, negated by the negative votes, the down votes. But there's also comments which are presented in sequential order. So this is just like any news site from back in the day, like BuzzFeed or whatever. You know, you can just kind of imagine what the news site is. And I bet it was BuzzFeed. You know, this is like 2012, right? I think it was MIT 2012, BuzzFeed. Yeah, maybe BuzzFeed. Maybe HuffPost, whatever. Huffington Post back in the day. Outing myself as a millennial, but sure, whatever. And that's basically the whole first column. It describes the mechanisms there. And in the second column, it talks about how they artificially, it talks at the top of the right column, it talks about the experiment treatment and the control, which was to randomly generate an upvote on comments or a downvote on comments, or the control is to just give no votes whatsoever randomly. And what they found was that positive comments, randomly upvoted comments actually generate 25% more positive upvotes. Okay. Weirdly though, however, randomly downvoted comments, manipulated downvoted comments, do not generate more negative downvotes. There's a theory that there's an explanation an intuitive explanation that Aral provides, which is that people are more skeptical of negative opinions on the internet or something like that, and some other person, not Aral, some other guy agrees. But this other guy also thinks, well, what about, I forget who this other guy was, but there's some other guy. Well, what about the fact that business and economics, which seem like the same category, actually had totally different responses, and one of them had like a 50% effect, where way more positive comments were pushed on, were kind of piled on, whereas economics, you didn't really see that effect. So he talks about the categories. That's one area that needs further explanation. And I think there's, now we're at the bottom of the column, and I don't remember what it says, but something. I forgot what the final column, I forgot what the final paragraph was. It was a very short paragraph. I completely forgot what it said. Whew, that was my map of the passage. Oh, and by the way, in the graph, it just says, the main thing is business and lifestyle or something like that, or culture and life. Okay, those are the ones that had the huge jump between the control and the experiment, the treatment, where the positive upvotes like significantly boosted the random positive upvotes, the manipulated positive upvotes, like significantly boosted the number of positive upvotes total, the upvotes total. Okay, so that was my map of the passage. I would grade myself A to A plus for that. I was pretty detailed. I would say A. There's some transitions, and I don't actually know exactly the location and the transitions and everything, so I'm kind of fuzzy on some of that, but I would give myself an A or A minus, because I was a little fuzzy on some of the transitions for that map of the passage. A or A minus. All right, here we go. That is my map of the passage. I'm going to start and answer some of these questions. 3. Let's see how many I can predict the answer to without even looking back, just based on my map of the passage. 3, 2, 1, let's go. The main focus shifts from a discussion of experiment and its results to certain things that were not covered by the experiment. Consideration of the questions prompted by the results. Yep. Not the defects. Yep. That's 4150. Here we go. No look answer. That was 20 seconds. Author of the passage suggests that crowds may be more effective at tangible. Yep. That's a little qualitative, but valid is a little if-y. Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Ooh, that's interesting. Controversy. Examine. Okay, I gotta double check B and C. But reinforcing versus challenging versus quantitative, qualitative. So I'm looking over here. The author, we're talking about the author here. So that's not the author's perspective over here, but let's look at the tangible bit. I still want to double check. Quantitative number. But challenging would come from, where's challenging? It's over negative, right? One explanation, skeptical of negative social influence. Challenging is a little off topic, so I'm gonna go with that. You know, I'll pause the question right now. The author suggests is a little weird. The wording of this answer choice, the wording of this question stem is a little weird because the author almost never, see, it would have been much nicer if they didn't say the author suggests, but specifically they said Aural suggests, right? Or the author's representation of Aural or something like that, because the author never out and out says what he thinks, maybe down here, right? But, the product thing. Yeah, but like, yeah, this question stem was like written a little iffy, like it's a little sketch. Anyway, that said, C, arriving at accurate quantitative answers and producing valid qualitative judgments. I think that's basically correct. The evidence was right there. I think it's going to ask me for the evidence, so let's look. The evidence was right here. Why can I not zoom in? Okay. Skeptics argue, so from 20 to 25, or 15 through 17 is kind of iffy, but I hope that's not the answer. So 20 to 25 is excluded. 15 to 20 is also excluded. So what the hell? Line 9 and line 11. I'm going to do process elimination. This is not happy. I'm not happy about this. Your guess is going to be far from the mark. Okay. Then let's look at 17. 17 to 20 does not help. So 25, 28. What? The shit? None of that helps with this. Oh, effective at quantitative. Oh my God, I was looking for the wrong thing. Yeah, then that's definitely over here. Right here. That's 12 through 14 or 11 through 14 or something. Oh my God, I was looking for the wrong answer. Oh my God. So sad. Okay, skeptics. The skeptics believe that no, they can be manipulated, right? So let's look at manipulated. So we're starting at line 55 and going down to 79. So that's starting over here. Skeptics would believe '60 to 62 makes sense. 69 makes sense. 76, let's look at 76. The category would not be 63, 65. Oh my God, I'm just doing process elimination now. 63, 65, that's not the skeptics. That's the opposite of the skeptics. 58. What's 58? Okay, that doesn't help. 55, 58. Oh my God. Yep, that's the skeptics. I remember the skeptics pretty confidently, but man, this kind of question is such a huge waste of time. How much time did that take me? Almost a minute and a half? Ugh. Oh, I hate those questions. Okay, because I already know the answer. I'm just like going through this terrible. Anyway, which action would best address a question Watts raises about the study? Watts. That's probably the other guy, right? So which action? Categories, right? Multiple websites, maybe. Yeah, probably multiple websites. Let me just double check. That's almost a no-look answer, but just double checking. Specific to this site, yes, that's correct. That's line 75, just in case a question. Nope, didn't ask me, but yeah. It's 4640. Boost, 85 boost. Probably just means increase, but let me just double check. Oh wait, what line was that? Line was 85. Boost their products. Oh no, not increase the products. Promote their products. That's correct. Yep. 4705. Ooh, that's why you do not do process elimination first, guys. Do not look at the answer choices right away. 86 scale. That's like the same sentence on a massive range. Level. Yeah, level works. 4720. Okay. Which category in news has an artificially upvoted mean score of 2.5? Okay, 2.5. Artificially upvoted means mean score. That's 2.5. That's politics. Okay. Smallest difference in mean score between artificially and okay. That's probably towards the end. So that's general news right here. Look at that. General news. 4750. Which idea from the passage? So it supports that certain categories actually have a larger effect. No, not downvoted. We don't know anything. We only know no, we don't know that. Positive in news may not apply to human in other contexts. How is that supported by the in other contexts? That seems a little iffy. Type of story being commented on has an impact. The type has an impact. Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. That's exactly what I was looking for. And that is the fourth passage. Now I'm going to move on to my fifth passage. Here we go. Foer, Moonwalking with Einstein, the art and science of remembering everything. So we're talking about cognitive science. We're talking about memory, right? The art and science of, but why is, okay, moonwalking. What the hell is moonwalking? But sure. A new neuroscientist named Eleanor Maguire, 2000, wanted to find out what effect driving around the streets of London might have on the brain. Driving on the brain. Okay, when you have a complicated street map, how would that change your brain? One important difference, the hippocampus, known to be used for spatial navigation, was 7% larger. It's small but significant. Yeah, that is pretty huge for a brain. Concluded that all that wayfinding, doing all that looking around, altered the gross structure, the physical structure of their brains. I feel like they should ask a vocab and context question for that. The more years a cabbie had been on the road, the more pronounced. Amazing. The brain is mutable. It's plastic. Neuroplasticity. The adult brain, long been thought that the adult brain was unable to spawn new neurons, but apparently it can. It was static. Not true. Okay, so talking about background about the brain, our understanding of the brain. Mental athletes is a different, so this is her groundbreaking, so this is a second study. She studied with Valentine and Wilding, okay, Maguire, Valentine, Wilding, to focus on mental athletes. Mental athletes are people with amazing memory who are at the top of the memory championship. Were they different? And here's just a hypothesis. So then we put them, okay, or are they just making better use? Are they more efficient, or do they have differences in their structures? Okay, so here's the experiment design. MRI scanners memorize 3-digit numbers, photographs, and images of faces and flakes. And okay. But yeah, I was anticipating the bet. Not a single structural difference. No difference. Okay, it's just if they have normal IQ. Okay, general cognitive ability basically means IQ. They weren't smarter and they didn't have special brains. But there is one difference. What's the difference? They're activating totally different circuitry when we're comparing them to other. Things that are less active in the control were working in overdrive for mental athletes. Interesting. I wonder what that is because I have terrible memory. I wish I could activate that area. Okay, the regions that were useful for visual memory and for spatial navigation. Okay, I've heard similar studies. Images, right? And space. Why should be navigating space? This is visual and this is spatial. What was going through their minds? What's going through their minds? And they said they were converting the information into images along journeys. It was something that they were training and practicing. It was like a technique. Yeah. And I know about this technique already. And maybe some of you guys do too, because it comes out popular. It's pretty popular in the sort of how to study more effectively category of like YouTube and Instagram random stories. All right, here we go. I'm about to give you my map of the passage. I stopped the time. I'm not looking at the page. This is my first time ever reading the passage. And this is what I remember. This is what's in my mind. Okay, so you can check how much is in your mind compared to mine. All right, here we go. Just zoning out a little bit, but yeah, let's go. It's kind of a longer stream than usual. It's just got a little tired. Here we go. Map of the passage. Hypothesis. No, McGuire. McGuire was interested in this London cabbies experiment. What does it do to the structure of their brain to navigate all these complicated streets in London? And basically, in the first paragraph, the results come out. She finds that their brains were 7% larger. The longer they were cabbies, the larger the effect. Amazing. Okay? Now, moving towards the middle of the paragraph, it says, well, she was curious how this would affect. She and two other people teamed up to look at how this affects mental athletes, people from the World Memory Championships who ranked really high on the World Memory Championships. The hypothesis being, hey, were their brains structurally different, or were they somehow just being more efficient with the same structure of brains that people had? Now, I actually missed something. I skipped something in my map of the passage. In the second paragraph, it talks about how people in the field had long assumed that adult brains would not be able to build up new neurons. And the effect of the first experiment, the groundbreaking study, was that actually it shows it's not true. Adults can develop new neurons. Okay, so that I completely missed that part. But that was the second part that was the second paragraph of that column. Then it goes into her teaming up with these two people, blah, 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 and everything I just said about the memory championship, and then the hypothesis, which is it just they're more efficient? And at the bottom of the column now, we start by describing the experiment design, which is they bring up these people, they find these people, and at the top of the right column, we're telling them what to do. We give them 3-digit numbers. Actually, this is the bottom of the left column, actually. 3-digit numbers, images of faces, and also images of snowflakes, okay? And then we put them through an MRI scanner to see what happens, and we're comparing it to a control group of normal people. And what they found was, actually, their brains were not bigger. Brains are not bigger. However, moreover, they actually checked for a different variable. They controlled a different variable, Were they smarter? Is their IQ better? Their general cognitive ability is better? No, it's not. Okay, we knock both of those out. So what's the difference? There is one difference that we saw, which is that the pathways that are lighted up are different from the controls. When they scanned the two different people, there were two parts of the brain that the memory champions used that normal people didn't. It's the imaging pathway, the visual imaging pathway, and also part of the brain, and also the spatial awareness part of the brain. Those two parts were used. Why would that be the case? And in the bottom, starting at the bottom of the right column, it says, actually, these memory athletes, they were specifically trying to produce images and sequence it in a spatial journey in order to remember what they were doing, or what they were being shown. And so it's not some sort of innate thing. It's not their brain size. It's not some intelligence thing. It's just a technique that they developed over time by practicing. That was my map of the passage. I would grade myself A+. I got everything, I think. I got everything. Basically everything. I got everything, man. That was a freaking good map of the passage. All right. I have how much time left? I have so much time left. I have 13 minutes left. So let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, let's go. They're significant because they called the question early consensus. There we go. No look answer, 52, 55. Okay, best evidence, it's not true. This word true, that's the sentence I'm looking for, 2026. Let me just double check. Yep, not true. Okay, that was basically a no-look answer, but obviously I have to look back for this one. That was essentially a no-look answer. I knew where that was. Line 24, basic, most nearly means. The fundamental structure, the sort of initial, original. Fundamental is more correct. Hang on, let me just double check. That the fundamental structure was static. That the initial would not work with static. It would be the opposite. It's kind of the wrong context to use that word. Okay, took me 35 seconds for that one. That's not normal for me, but for vocab and context. But I had to deal with that. What question was this? What question was it primarily intended to answer? Are they more efficient, or do they have a structural difference? Does they act different brain structures? Use of structures, incorrect. Inherit their unusual brain structures, or do they develop? Nope. Does reflect structure or unusual use? Correct. That's correct. 54, 15. Now this is the bottom left. I think this what is what I'm kind of looking for. No, that seems kind of wrong. But let's double check. It's bottom left. Okay. Structure. Okay, so that's here. 35, 37. 35, 37. Yep. So 54, 35. That was basically a no-look answer. I'm getting a lot of no-look answers on this one right now. 39, matched most nearly means. Matched most nearly means they matched control subject into and asked them to. Oh, right. They matched. Wait. The mental athletes and a group of matched control subjects, so paired control subjects, I guess. But matched on what, though, right? What does that even mean? Comparable, I guess. Obviously not. Paired is kind of what I was thinking. It's kind of an interesting sentence originally. The main purpose of the fifth paragraph, what is main purpose of the fifth paragraph? 57 to 65. Oh, yeah, we're identifying the difference. Identifying the difference. Relate, no. An important finding. Just double checking the other ones. Description of methods, no. 55, 40. Okay, and now we're going on to 49. it's hard to do a lot of no-look answers on this one because they're forcing me to look back at the passage. But you're noticing that probably I'm predicting most of the answers. When compared to mental athletes, the control group kids were not using those two parts of the regions. We don't know about overall. We don't know about the wider range is off. Different patterns, correct. Smaller is also off. 5605. Let's keep going. Mental athletes are successful at memorization because they are practicing a specific type of thing. Abstract symbols is a little weird. Could make sense though, because abstract symbols and images are similar. But not normally used in routine. Not normally used is correct. Not lists, puzzles. Abstract symbols, if abstract symbols is the same as images, then that's correct. If not normally used in routine memorization is what people normally do, that's over here. So they were conscious converting them into images. They weren't doing this automatically. Hang on, over here. Specific tests. Why would they be conjuring images in their mind's eye when they're trying to learn numbers? Less active and control. The problem is the routine memorization, right? The routine memorization, we don't have a comparison to routine memorization. We do have a comparison against the control group, but we don't have this idea of a routine memorization, so that's wrong. But what we do have is images and navigating. That's the images, journeys, abstract symbols. That is really strange, honestly. I'm going to cross out routine, but I'm going to come back to this. 58. How long did that take me? 2 minutes almost. That was a long one. Okay. Oh, it's another one here, huh? I said abstract, right? So abstract, I'm just going to go here. Abstract is over here. I'm looking for 74 to 78 kind of works, but 81 through 85 is better. 74 doesn't even exist. Wait, what? 80. Okay, 85 is wrong, so let's eliminate 85. But 79, 81, 72, 73. 79, 81 is not useful. 72, 73. That also doesn't make any sense, so that's process elimination. So 66, 66. What is 66? Oh, this changes my answer. Yeah, then that makes this not abstract symbols. That's see, okay. 5930, 5, 5935. I'm gonna just write it on both sides. Oof. Okay, well, I'm done. I don't have to go back to that one anymore. 74, 78 questions. I don't really like the word choice for that previous one, but why would they, how surprising it is. It emphasizes, what's the question? Primarily serves to emphasize how surprising it is that they're even using that part. Not reliability, initially puzzling result. Yeah, sure. Introduce and imply that the connection between, Okay. 60:15. All right. So that was less than a minute, and I think we're good here. I'm using extra time. Extra time, I go in green, and I just go, and I have, 4 minutes left? So I'm just going to go and review some of the questions that I had doubts on, which I remember there was at least one. So let me go and look over them. Grimke makes which point about human rights? Which point about human rights? They retain their moral authority, whether they are recognized by law. That's 65 through 60, 61 through 65. Yeah, so wrested from the slave implies that it's taken away legally, but it's shocking because it's not directly in the page. But I'm looking at A and C and D. Yeah, that doesn't make any other sense. So 61, 30. I can double check 58 and 71. Let's see. Have rights because they are moral beings. Same rights. Okay, that doesn't really... 71. B is better because it connects to a law idea a little better than the other one that I just read. No, that's talking about the whole thing about subverting it. 77 about inverting the animal nature and the moral nature. And I can't zoom. Oh my God. Okay. If you focus on sex, that makes it overly. Yeah. 62:15. Man, that's an awkward one, huh? I don't think was that the one that I was complaining about? Okay. Maximize the output of conventional. And I want to double check to satisfy the world population. But, conventional agriculture, let me just reread the question. Oh my God, why can't I not zoom? Such a waste of time. Conventional agriculture, it actually is more efficient. Yeah. That's good enough, honestly. The land bits, right? Do I need to double check the land? Yeah, this is all talking about the land. And we never really talk about feeding the world, right? That never really happens. You can kind of imagine it. You can imagine it, right? It makes sense, but it's not in the page. Okay, I'm going to go with that. 63:15. For some reason, I feel a little uncomfortable with some of these answers, but not everything's always perfect, so maybe I'll get a couple wrong. Yeah, I already went over this, so I'm not going to double check this. Some of these questions I thought were written in a little sketch, but anyway, 63:45. So I have 1 minute and 15 seconds, and I'm stopping time to get into scoring. I'm about to score myself. Jordan, I didn't see your thing. You said it's probably B. I wonder if that's you agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. I have no idea because I don't know which question you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't see it in time. Now I'm about to go into scoring. Let me pull up the answers. This is practice test 5. So. Okay, it's in front of me now. Let's go and score. All right, 1 through 5. I chose DCCAC. DCCAC are correct. Then I chose ADB. ADB are correct. Then I chose BB, and BB are correct. I can't zoom. Okay. It's really annoying when that happens. When I'm under time pressure. 11 through 14, I chose BABD. BABD are correct. Then I chose CABB. CABB are correct. Then I chose BAD, and BAD are correct. So that's 11 for 11. I'm 21 for 21 right now. Okay, here we go. By the way, if you're typing anything, I can't see, but okay, here we go. 22. I chose A, B, A, B. A, B, A, B are correct. Then I chose C, D, B, D. C, D, B, D are correct. Then I chose B, D. B, D are correct. That's 10 for 10. Hang on, let me just check. Didn't this have some awkward questions here? Oh no, it's not super awkward. This was not that awkward. Was there anything awkward here? Yeah, the law part is the rested. Yeah. Okay, that's the part. That one's a little mean, honestly, but I mean, yeah. So you need to know some historical context to assume that when you're resting the right way, you can't alienate, right? So you have to have some sort of historical context to infer that. All right, moving away. I mean, but it is pretty basic historical context. I mean, of course, the slaves didn't have rights from the law. Like, it's pretty basic, but yeah, it does mean you need to rely on your knowledge of what that resting means contextually in history. Okay, so going to passage 4. I chose BC in 2030. What's it called? What number was that? 32. BC are correct. Then I chose BABC. That's correct. And this was the awkward one. No, it wasn't that awkward. Never mind. Over here, I chose ABDD. ABDD. 38. ABDD. That's correct. So that's 10 for 10 again. All right, here we go. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. CDD. CDD are correct. Then I chose CB. CB are correct. Then I chose ACCA. ACCA are correct. Then it's AB, and AB are correct. I got a perfect 52 out of 52. Okay. Solid. Some of those questions I did not think were very clean. I think some of the wording on some of those questions were a little, sketch. And you guys, if you watched the whole stream, then you would know which ones they were. But it looks like through the combination of my approach and then the backup process elimination, I was able to just power through and get a perfect score. So hope that helps. My thoughts on these passages, nothing special besides what I just said. And final word for you guys. Guys, the SAT, remember, is just one measure of your academic ability, and a lot of you guys, have this tendency to kind of make it overly important in your life. Remember, the most important thing is to just be a good person, a good, interesting, motivated, passionate, generous, compassionate, giving, growing person. Okay, that's the most important thing. That's the kind of kid that a university wants to be part of their student body. So don't lose sight of the big picture. And in terms of the SAT, especially the reading, I know that a lot of people think when you're taking your reading test, you feel like you're just doing a bunch of guesswork, and you're using these little tips and tricks, these little strategies to just make yourself feel a little less uncomfortable. But guys, reading is just the same as grammar and just the same as math. In grammar, the way to get a better grammar score is by learning some grammar. In math, the way to get a better math score is by learning some math. In reading, it's not suddenly you're just going to learn process elimination, stupid techniques. Okay? The way to get better at reading is by getting better at reading. And how do you get better at reading? Learn the genre conventions, learn to develop a map of the passage, learn to actually retain the information in your head by actually having a solid understanding of the flow of the passage, and then use it to predict the answers, guys. That is the way to get a better score. Okay? So if you've not tried my approach, try it. Copy me first, okay? Because if your approach is not working for you, just copy someone else's approach, someone else for whom it is working. copy it first, and then you'll notice that some parts of it don't exactly work 100% for you. Then tweak it little by little. Experiment with it until it works for you. Make it yours, and let this whole process be a learning process where you're actually becoming a better reader rather than just like learning to like hack the SAT with dumb tips and tricks that don't actually make you better at all. Okay? Become better, grow, and start growing today. All right, see you guys in the next one. Peace.